friends, and welcome to this week's episode of So Fired. I'm Chelsea Toronto.
I'm Dr. Lindsay Regier.
And every week on So Fired, we take life's negatives and turn them into positives.
We share life advice and we laugh a lot. And on this week's episode, we are discussing why being delusional is awesome.
Amazing.
Yay. And before we get right into the show, first I just have an announcement about book club.
So February's book club, which we will on air
March 1st, Wednesday, March 1st at 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, we'll be doing an Instagram live book club. So we'll be hosting it and you can hop on and join in on the discussion.
So without further ado, we will be reading The Personal Librarian
by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray.
I love it. I hope you guys do too. So I can't wait for March
1st at 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And we will post a discussion post on our Instagram page so you can put your questions and comments on there. And we would love it if you would hop on live with us too.
Great.
Yay.
I can't wait.
Okay. Well, let's get to So Fired.
Alrighty. What you got?
All right. So my So Fired moment of the week is... Oh, this was actually really funny. Okay. So I started picking up a couple hours at this other clinic for chiropractic. It's just a little extra easy money. And the doctor that I'm working with, I've met him a couple times. There's been emails sent with paperwork and everything. And I'm sitting in his office the other day and he's like, okay, add me on LinkedIn. So I'm like, okay. So I go on LinkedIn and I type in Dr. Let's say his name is Bob. So I'm like, okay, Dr. Bob. And I'm like, what's your last name? And he's like, that is my last name. And I was like, okay, we've communicated way too long to ask for your first name now. So I'm like, how am I going to find out what his first name is?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You don't even know his first
I didn't know his first
name.
name.
Right, sweet.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to angle my laptop away from you. I'm going to dig through my emails because I'm a very resourceful person.
What if you just looked up last name and the name of the clinic?
There were so many.
Oh, shoot.
Because there's a common first name, last name situation. So I finally... So, this is going to be really embarrassing if I have to ask him. But no, I dug through my emails and I was searching long and hard. I'm like, there's got to be something with his first name on it.
Signature block.
Yeah, in a signature block. So I finally found an email like, okay, Dr. Rob Bob. I'm like... He's like a first name person. And I'm like, I literally thought that you went by your first name this whole time.
Well,
like,
technically you did. Kind of.
And then I'm like, oh, I found you on LinkedIn.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
That's really fun. I'm really glad you're telling me for the first time.
I know.
So we can capture my... That's hilarious.
Yeah. So well, avoided a lot of embarrassment there.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? I would have, I would have panicked and I would have been like, what's your first name?
And I was like, do you think Lindsay is my last name? Because I'm just, I'm Dr. Lindsay. I never go by my last name. So, yeah, I thought he was going by his first name the whole time.
Well, that's a reasonable thing to assume.
Yeah.
Shit. Hilarious.
My sleuthy skills always come in handy.
Awesome. I was so fired.
Okay.
I was organizing my ski stuff. And I have one of those cloth square bags that you organize things. You put like the packable ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's got a zipper.
Okay.
And there's a lot of stuff in there. So it's like kind of packing it down, like the push down, then zip, push down and zip.
Oh, yeah. Really packing it full.
Yep. So I zip and have the zipper in my hand and it goes off the track. And I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, I don't know how to put zippers back on.
Me either.
And I'm just like, what am I going to do? Just like cut this?
Oh.
I didn't know what. Because it's still like zippered shut.
Oh.
Like it went off the track.
You couldn't rip it open? Oh.
I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, it was a solid minute where like I was like dumbfounded. I was like, what am I going to do right now? Oh. Then I realized, I'm like, oh my God, I have a zipper in my finger and I have a zipper in my hand.
Yeah.
And
zipper pull.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, zippers are very lucky in my life. It's like getting a lucky penny or something that you might see throughout and like on the street. And so now actually, here it is. Ta-da! I brought it. Oh, show and
Ooh.
tell.
It's a little gray zipper.
Very basic. But, so I must have like 42 zippers now in my life.
Wow.
And someday there will be one on my left wrist. Do you think I should get a tattoo on my left wrist or my right?
Maybe your left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm more inclined to look down and slightly to the left.
Right.
As opposed to like...
Because I feel like you're always using your right hand and you're not, they're like writing with it or something. Yeah.
I was just wondering about that.
Yeah. Put on your left hand.
Very good.
Are you getting a tattoo this year?
I swear to God. It's just a lot of pressure trying to figure out which artist.
I know.
Because the aesthetic that I'm looking for is Wes Anderson does like kooky.
It's kind of like cartoony-ish.
Like slightly askew.
Yeah.
Very thin strokes.
Well, you came up with a sketch. I think you should just use that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's our So Fired for the week.
Do you have an issue this week?
Oh, do I ever? Let me find them. I think okay, I do have some. Where to begin? I have a couple of things.
Okay.
My roommate called me cheap.
Ooh.
I know.
Cheap as in you're not spending money on things, or you're looking cheap, or...
No, I'm not looking cheap. That's hilarious. I would laugh at that if you told me I was looking cheap. Actually, no. So if I go to the grocery store, I will buy generic.
Oh, I mean, I buy generic for a lot of things.
And he's like, you're just being a cheap ass.
No, I'm being economical.
It's all just too broke to buy like the brand name. Why am I going to spend $4.99 on raisins when I can get like the Kroger ones for $2.99?
I know.
I'm like, I'll blow my wad where it counts.
I will.
Like $400 pair of jeans.
Right? Exactly. Jeans, organic apples,
my hair,
like
shoes,
Botox. Yeah,
dude. I was like, I don't have enough residual like income to like pay
top dollar money
for raisins.
Yeah, you're like, I'm spending all that money on Botox, so I don't look like a raisin.
Good one. You're on fire today.
I will. Yeah, I buy generic a lot of things, except for I buy the Oatly oat milk every single time.
Oh, sure. Although it does have a bit of a waxy finish. I love it. Don't get me wrong.
I guess I don't know. I mean, I put it in my coffee, so maybe.
You know, don't let me taint it for you. Okay, so that's not my only issue.
Okay.
Okay, here is today's formal issue. The way Coloradans say hello.
Oh.
Okay, let's role play.
Okay.
Let's say you're Dr. Lindsay in your doctor office, and I'm a patient, and it's the first time I'm walking through the door. Let's say hello to each other. Okay. Ready? Okay, you go first.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
You sound like the girl from White Lotus. What's her name? That actress.
Because
that's how people say hello.
I guess I'm like, I'm great. What's good today?
Okay. Look, I get it. It's not
but it's like, but what are you supposed to say? I'm not great.
No, you're not.
I'm well.
Okay,
I'm fine.
Let's back this up. Let's walk.
What answer do you want?
I don't want us to actually say, "Hey, how are you? I'm good. Good. How are you?" Like that's unnecessary, and no one's saying anything other than good.
You're like literally so New York. That is like such an East Coast New York thing. Like, don't speak to me unless I want to be spoken to, and don't ask me anything.
I strike that. Take that off. Like, walk that back. Here's the thing. No, I'm not suggesting we don't say hello to each other. What I'm suggesting is we find a way in which we greet one another a little more authentically.
But when you are saying, if I'm saying hi to a patient, like, hey, how's it going?
Forget about the fact that
I'm saying hi to someone at the grocery store.
Exactly.
Hey, how's it going? Great. I'm happy to hear that.
No, okay.
Do you want? Well, okay, but I'm saying, is that the alternative you want? What answer do you want?
I don't know. You know, if I had really done my homework, I would have looked what other cultures do with like European. Like, what do they do? Like
they don't speak to each other. Maybe
they do.
I don't
know. Just say good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I guess.
I wish you well.
Maybe it stops at good morning.
Yeah.
Hello.
What's wrong with that?
That is like my words are unable to stay contained in my body. I must ask you how you're doing. How are things going? How are you?
But who's going to tell you anything otherwise than good?
I don't care.
I just feel like good isn't like an
What if they're
honest.
like, fine?
Yeah.
Then I'm like, ooh, I
I'd
shouldn't
rather hear
ask.
that. Occasionally, I'll hear people say fantastic, and it makes me choke every time in the sense that I'm like, did you just say fantastic? There's this two of our like head chefs. Well, anyway, they like, hey, how's it going, William? He's like, fantastic. I'm like, did you just say fantastic? Get out of here.
Well, okay, if I say anything other than good, I'm like, oh, it's so great, it's such an amazing day. They're like, oh, why? I'm like, it just is. Like,
I say, my face just went like downturn. I say I'm living the dream,
okay.
or
When I say living the dream, like, living the dream.
I know, that's how I say it too. That's exactly how I say it. And I gotta tell you, these Cherry Hills folks don't know how to respond to that.
They don't.
They just are like, I'm like,
they're like, are you or are you not?
I'm like, you don't get it. I'm kind of a ski bum, and I don't do anything until like 4, and I only work like 5 hours a day. So, living the dream. I can't complain.
Yeah. It's always a great day here.
It's a great day of Pinos. I'm gonna start saying it that way.
It's a great day at Elite Lifestyle.
Okay, so I guess that's my main issue of the day. I don't love it when people ask my advice and then don't take it.
Oh.
Not like in terms of like. All right, never mind. Touche. Like my friend asked me, like, "Hey, I'm thinking about transitioning into sales. I'm 50, and like, what does that look like when merging onto the highway of senior millennials all the way to Zers?" And I was like, first, eye cream. You need some.
Hey, I have some good stuff.
And then I was like, and hand lotion, and maybe get a manicure, because why are your fingers looking so busted up?
Okay, I think when they were asking you, they weren't asking you.
I don't think they certainly were asking me like
this appearance.
sales tips.
I think maybe they were looking for more reassurance of like, oh yeah,
no,
you should do that.
I did not give that. I was like, look, you want to pretend like you're like those generation adjacent. Like,
right.
You want to appear to be senior millennial adjacent or Zer adjacent in the fact that like you understand where they're coming from. You can respect what's important to them. Like, there are hot topics. Like, don't say those things. Like, things are a lot more fluid. Stop putting a black and white boomer rationale on things.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and we do care about how we look and what we eat, and like, stop. He smokes cigarettes. And I'm like, ugh, what are you doing? Like, vape like normal people.
Yeah. Get it together.
And I was like, so if you want to merge onto a highway of sales, people ranging from 45 to like 25, these would be some of the things I would suggest.
How do you know he didn't take your advice?
He's like, great advice. I'm going to pass on the eye cream though. Well, how about eye lotion? What about lotion? Do you have any lotion in your bathroom cabinet?
I mean, to tell someone to put eye cream on when they're probably like not even washing their face.
So
that's a big step. Step 1, wash your face. Maybe just a moisturizer in general.
That's what I'm saying. How about lotion? Moisturizer.
Yeah.
Fine. Take eye cream away. Maybe it's semantics.
Right.
And then I was like, can you please get a manicure and stuff? Like, he's like, oh, this is when I was shooting a gun. I was like, ew, don't say that either. I was like, that only makes it worse. I'm shooting up guns, and then I got like bloody fingertips.
America,
I
love guns.
I was like, oh my God, you're not going to get this job in sales. You're not going to get it.
You should be like, you sell me on why you are worthy of this job.
I just don't think you are. Do you want to role play? Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Good, great.
Stupid answer. Take it back.
Fine. Anyway, so that's that issue. And my final issue of the day is, why do you, when you don't want something, it wants you, but when you want something, it doesn't want you. And I just think that's weird.
That is just the law of something or another in the world, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah. What's the
like a law of rejection?
Yeah.
And that's why being delusional is like,
it is awesome.
That's why it's amazing. Why is it amazing?
Because when you're so delusional, you just don't even really take into all the reality that's around you to like stop and think of like, well, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if this is for me, or I don't know if I can attract this. You're just like, yeah, I can. Nothing can stop me.
So I recently heard, Almost Adulting?
Yes.
What's her name? Violet
Violet.
Benson?
Yeah.
She had, and it was the first of the year where it's like the word of the year should be delusional. So I'm actually hearing this a lot. And if that's the word of 2023, then I'm in luck.
I'm all for it. And I was thinking about being delusional because
It just makes you laugh anyway.
I know, I'm like, I'm so delusional. It's amazing.
It's like when my mom says, bring your neck. Stop being so delusional. Okay.
Well, I was thinking about this word even before I listened to the podcast, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that she had that episode out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
Oh.
Yeah, I just like thought of this the other day.
Did you see it on Instagram though?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I thought you were kind of quoting her.
No.
So I heard about it also. Jen suggested I listen to this episode, but back in like early January.
Oh.
That's amazing how it dropped right in our laps. But
I
different
know.
ways.
I know.
Yeah. So being delusional, right?
Yeah.
You take all this time and energy telling yourself all these terrible things. We should just like spin the crazy into like a funny, cute way that like, okay, that's great. That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought she said something really funny that being realistic is for losers.
I did enjoy it. I really like her lisp.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way she talks.
I listened to it on double time, so I think I'm missing the lisp.
Oh, it's not like a lisp, but there's like an N click or something. It just
Well, that's because English is her third language.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. I like how it sounds. You know, I'm foreign, so I could really pick up on those accents and dialects.
Okay, well, this is why I was thinking that I just should be more delusional in life because I started a new side hustle and I was just thinking like, okay, do I like really want to do this? It's been on my radar for like a year and I'm like, I don't know. It seems like really hard and it seems like it's not really for me. And it seems like it's just like not going to work out.
Sure.
But then last week or the week before that, I was like, I don't know, like, why not give it a go? And I'm like diving headfirst into my side hustle now. And I was told to like, okay, you have to like do like this many reach outs. You have to do this many like XYZ. And I'm like, ugh, I feel like I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But I really had to sit down and like write it out. Like, why am I doing this?
Question real quick. So I know, are you still 715?
No.
Okay.
Haven't for a very long time.
I know, but I'm still billed on PayPal.
Same. I know. I need to cancel that.
So pay 750 real quick is just like
it's like a Word document.
Yeah, like a WordPress, the original where you just typed.
Mm-hmm.
There's no spell check or anything.
Yeah.
And that's how we used to journal or get our thoughts down.
Yeah.
And it was another challenge where we had to like write 750 words a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long that I can't remember to cancel it.
I know. I feel like I haven't used it in a very long time.
Okay, because for a while there we weren't analoging our words and thoughts and journals.
Yeah. And I haven't journaled in such a long time in general or written anything down.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking like, okay, I'm kind of at a crossroads of what am I going to do with the side hustle? I still like my main business going on.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm just so sick of like working so hard and not having any money.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be super delusional in my head and be like, I'm going to be a millionaire from this side hustle. And if like this girl can do it, I can do it. And like this girl that I'm learning from, she can do it.
She did it.
So she did it.
Yeah.
And I feel like having someone in my life that has proven that it can be done, I'm like, okay.
And so here's my thought. And you're exactly right. Having someone in your corner who has proven that they know not only it can be done,
mm-hmm.
and now they know what it takes for it to be completed.
Mm-hmm.
They've literally just handed you the playbook.
Right.
And so we always think, at least I do with this podcast, gosh, if we only had someone like an avatar that we could just mimic there. So it's nice to know that even though you've got that person in your life, you're actively rejecting it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I know.
Good. So even if we had them, we'd be like, did they really though? So that's good.
I know. And I mean, also the thing with the side hustle, and I have to also like convince myself like it is possible. And I'm almost just like afraid to be really good at it.
This is great. You know what you're describing? A lot of content.
Yeah. Because I was just like, okay, it's not that hard to do, but I'm just so terrified of people saying no, or like I'm really terrified of like reaching out to someone and people not responding. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna think like I'm too awesome and they can't
Yeah.
handle it. Or I'm just, now looking at other people when I'm at the grocery store or like going to a networking event. Now I've like shifted my mindset a little bit where I'm like, oh, like this could be like a
Is this
potential
hard?
customer.
Is it hard?
Kind of.
And how
Yeah.
so?
To reframe, like when I went to a networking thing yesterday,
Mhm.
I was like, ugh, okay, like I've met these ladies before. No one here is like really interesting to me. But then I'm like, I don't really want to hang out with any of these ladies, like maybe a handful of them. But I'm like, okay, like let me like listen with a finer ear to see like what they're actually saying and like
Totally.
if I could actually help them or if I could like connect with them on some
Or
other
sell
level
them shit.
or sell them shit. So I think that's also part of like the frequency illusion that she was talking about.
And what does that mean?
Basically, like how you think that there's only Range Rovers and Audis in Denver because you only see Range Rovers and Audis. Now when I'm
I
seeing
don't
some,
think that's the case.
now when I see someone at a networking event, I'd be like, oh, like you're a potential customer or like a team, like a potential team member in the future, instead of just being someone that I have to like talk to.
So you're expanding your vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if I drew
Vision, grand delusions.
grandeur.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there was also, I was listening to like Joe Dispenza lately,
Right.
and it's like the same thing. Like, oh, if you put your energy into your future self instead of staying in your past emotions, then, you just like expand your delusional horizons. So I'm like I woke up like yesterday and the day before being like very super excited. And I'm like, oh, this is like going to be amazing. This is literally my dream job, the side hustle. Because you know why?
Why?
I'll get to work wherever I feel like working.
Right.
We can podcast whenever we want.
That's amazing.
I also like, I feel like it's a good avenue to networking and like growing the podcast some more. And I can work in my leggings. I can travel more time freedom. So it's literally like the best side hustle so that we can podcast more.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Thanks for thinking of us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think that way too about hostessing.
Yeah.
But then I was like, do I need to pick up an extra day? Because this Botox is getting expensive. And these
Hence
new
why
mics.
there is none. Yeah,
And these new mics. Do you guys notice that we're this much closer to your eardrum?
Yeah,
Wow.
you better notice.
Because we skipped this month's Botox.
Totally worth it.
You know where I think I need to be delusional? Okay, many episodes ago, we were still in your office recording, and we talked about like, do we have the bandwidth once we become a certain level of status? Do we have the knowledge and the wherewithal to handle the bandwidth of success?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that today. Where I'm not thriving in this is the amount of friendships that I have. I am uncomfortable with how many I'm having, and specifically the ones that are outside, like that I don't see frequently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a lot of anxiety when I see people calling me.
Oh.
And even when I know that there's a call scheduled, look, once I get on the call, everything's fine.
Right.
It's just when they're calling, I'm freaking out. And even when I get a text like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, that gives me anxiety as well. And I'm realizing that like I've got more friends now than I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get comfortable with it and be a better friend because I'm not doing a great job. So if you are my friend and you don't live in town, please accept my apology. I recognize that I'm not showing up for you the way you're showing up for me. And it makes me feel very bad on top of already feeling bad that I'm not being a good friend. So I'm trying to wrap my head around that. And it just dawned on me this morning in yoga.
I totally understand that because a lot of my friends don't live in town. And the only way sometimes we communicate is like through Marco Polo once a week, or like I can't fully commit to a certain time every single week for a phone call. And I still like try to like send a text when I remember, but it is very difficult when you're like out of sight, out of mind ish.
Totally.
Even though I still think about you, it's just that not in everyday context.
I might think about my out of town friends more often than my in-town friends because the amount of guilt that I'm like saddled with.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been better if I just answered the phone call.
Right.
It's like, just pay your bill on fucking time.
Yeah.
don't let it go 30 days because you're going to be stressing like twice a day for 30 days. And now it's 60 days of like emotional like back pay.
Right. This is why I keep my friend group pretty
That's not fair to say.
close knit.
I mean, like, I can't help that people are moving away. They were super close friends when they lived here.
True.
So it's not fair to like,
Or like even my in-town friends. I keep it pretty like close circle of friends because I don't want to be a bad friend and not be able to show up and communicate and be available.
this is just new territory for me.
It is. I know, and it's growing pains, and I think that you'll fall into a rhythm with all of your friends about like what the expectations are with each one because every relationship is different. Like we talk every single day, multiple times a day. And then like that's not realistic with all my
I would
friends.
text Carrie multiple times throughout the day. I've got the time. I'm just experiencing a tremendous amount of anxiety, and I need to give it just a little more thought. I mean, like only 4 hours ago did this dawn on me, and I was like, oh, well, I guess by identifying the issue first helps.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it more anxiety of so it's the anxiety of like you not being a good friend?
That's the secondary. That's
Okay.
the first one. I think, hey, how are you? Good. How are things? Like it feels like when I had to report back to my therapist every month.
Oh.
Like how is this month? And I'm like, I'm making no progress. I'm not any better. How are you? Having to talk about myself gives me shortness of breath.
That's interesting because we have a show where we talk about ourselves.
Oh my god.
So maybe you could just like your friends that are out of town be like, that's like not a great question for me. Like maybe you could ask a different question if that's like such like a triggering question.
You know, sometimes your perspective is just different. And it really hits square between the eyes. You're so smart.
It's my one and only job, I guess.
You're so good at it. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for helping me brainstorm on that one.
You're welcome.
Maybe that's just all I needed to change my mindset and become delusional that I am a great friend. Obviously, these people like me.
Right.
And I was like, that's not fair to I'm not punishing it. It's my own little hitch.
Yeah.
Hitch. Yeah, like a
hitch in your giddy up.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Like a quirk.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know. I'm going to keep on being delusional that I can buy a Tesla one day.
Oh, I thought about that the other day.
Actually, this was really weird. I was driving to work yesterday in my Jeep, and I just was like, oh, I remember when I used to write down, like, I'm going to buy a Tesla when this happens. And I was, like, about to cry. I'm like, I, like, feel that. And I was like, this is a really weird feeling. I'm like, why am I getting emotional about buying a car? So that was wild.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. I think because, like, I know it's going to happen. And it was very overwhelming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think, and I think that's a very accurate statement because the times when I thought, oh my gosh, I'm here, like I'm about to be here, does make you want to cry.
Yeah. So that was such a weird sensation.
That side hustle has become a big deal.
It really has, and I wasn't really expecting it to like impact me so much. Wow. And I just made a delusional where I'm like, this is amazing. This is the best job ever. And it's going to lead to so many amazing things for us.
Oh, and you said us.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so thoughtful. You're so sweet. You know, I think that way too, that every time I step out of the house, I might have sex.
Yeah. Keep being delusional about that. Not when you step in the house. Every time you step out of the house.
Gosh. You are so fired today. Wow, you are on flame.
I know every time I walk into my house, that is 100% possibility.
Who wants to cuddle?
Yeah. Come and cuddle with me.
I could use a hug. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Okay, friends. So what are you going to be delusional about this year? Please take a screenshot of this episode, share it on Instagram, tag us at SoFiredPod with what you are deciding to be delusional about in 2023. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Disclaimer. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The stories and statements expressed herein are experiences and opinions. They may not represent the views of the production studio or the hosts. If you disagree with our content, that's okay. No podcast is perfect for everyone.